Do you know that magnificent episode in human history, the Paris Commune? The story begins with stupidity. I'm speaking of Napoleon III, nephew of Bonaparte. He was a stage actor, smiling to the crowd. Meanwhile, 6 million French peasants lived in blind, dark hovels, their children dying of starvation. But because he kept a legislature, because people voted, it was thought they had a democracy. A common mistake. Well, Bonaparte wanted glory, so he decided to attack Bismarck's armies. He was quickly defeated, whereupon the victorious German troops marched into Paris and were greeted by something more devastating than guns. Silence. The statues of Paris were draped in enormous black cloths, an immense, invisible, silent resistance. The Germans did the wise thing. They paraded through the Arc de Triomphe and quickly departed. Now, the old order, the Republic, the French liberals, they called themselves, they were trembling with fear. They were afraid to enter the city because now, with the German soldiers gone, Paris was taken over by the workers, the housewives, the clerks, the intellectuals, the armed citizens. The people of Paris formed not a government, something more glorious, something governments everywhere fear. The Commune, collective energy of the people. The French army encircled and threatened to invade at any moment. Paris became the first free city in the world, an enclave of liberty in a world of tyranny. I said to Bakunin, do you want to know what I mean by the dictatorship of the proletariat? Look at the Paris Commune. That is real democracy, not the democracy of England or America, where elections are circuses, where the choice is between this or that guardian of the old order, and whichever candidate wins, the rich go on ruling the country. No, it only lasted 2 months. The Paris Commune was the first legislative body in history to represent the poor. Its laws were for them. It abolished their debts, postponed their rents. They forced the pawn shops to return their most needed possessions. They lowered the hours of bakers. They refused to take wages higher than those of the workers. And they set up a commission for the education of women, something unheard of, education for women. They took advantage of the latest in science, the lighter-than-air balloon, and they launched one out from Paris to float over the countryside and drop printed papers to the peasants with a simple, powerful message, a message that should be dropped to working people everywhere. Our interests are the same. The Commune declared the purpose of schools, to teach children to love and respect their fellow creatures. Now, I've read your endless discussions on education. Such nonsense. You teach everything necessary to succeed in a capitalist world, but do you teach the youth to struggle for justice? The Commune understood the importance of that. They educated not only by their words, but by their acts. They abolished the guillotine, that instrument of tyranny, even revolutionary tyranny. And then, wearing red bandanas, red banner flying, buildings festooned in sheets of red silk, they gathered around the Vendôme column, a symbol of military power, an enormous statue surmounted by the giant bronze head of Napoleon Bonaparte. A pulley was attached to the head, a capstan turned, and the head came crashing to the ground. Men and women climbed atop the ruins. Now the red flag flew from its pedestal. Now it was a statue not of one nation, but of the entire human race. And men and women watching wept with joy. That was the Paris Commune. People shared things. Kindness ruled. They seemed to smile more often. The streets were completely safe without police of any kind. Yes, that was socialism. Of course, that example could not be allowed. So the French army invaded and commenced a slaughter. The leaders of the Commune were taken to Père Lachaise cemetery, lined up against a wall, and shot. Altogether, 30,000 were killed. Commune was crushed by wolves, swine. Still, it was the most glorious achievement of our time.